Well, here we are again. It's the Dirty South podcast. I know we missed last week. All three of us were spread out all over the country doing our own thing because we were busy. So I know everybody is really disappointed about that, but here we are. We're back and better than ever. But
And busier than ever, but our schedules
busy,
work this
yeah.
week.
I
That's
know,
right.
Jason, you were up in the mountains visiting whoever you were visiting, or just taking a chill out moment. And then I know you were busy doing previews all week and doing interviews, right? And
Oh,
now
yes.
I was up at North Central to see my boy, it was awesome. Great weekend. So how are you guys?
We're good. We're
Mhm.
good.
I've
I
got
so wish that we had started capturing the conversation before we hit record.
2 minutes ago. My goodness.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if those conversations
Of
were
course, it would have changed our rating on the podcast. No, I'm doing good. It's crazy. I'm
yeah.
still putting together my preview. I've got 20 coach interviews in the next 48 hours. Six today, eight tomorrow, and six on Friday morning.
Oh,
Um, so
So what is it with those interviews? You I know I saw one on Instagram where you took a clip, but
I have
do you do the whole thing? Do you post the whole thing on the website?
no. So it's just a chance to chat, and I don't put the whole thing because I like some of the honesty I get uh talking to coaches. So if there's good quotes, then I'll put them up. I don't put anything up, obviously, that shines bad on the coach or programmer or the sport. No, it's we talk 10 to 15 minutes, and I ask them about their team and um some teams I know better than others. So this is a chance. I'm talking to coaches that just meeting and learning, and uh, so then I take two or three quotes from it for my for the preview. So you'll see three quotes in print online, and then I'm trying to take a quote and put it on a image, and then cut up some sound and turn it into a video. But it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of
So
work. And
I
with so many interviews, man, I mean, it's a
and
lot
yeah,
of work.
and I've got like eight to go that I've already done like videos. I just need to post. It's concert week at my house, so we have four concerts this week,
Woo.
two cheerleading basketball games, four lacrosse practices, a couple rehearsals, and then Friday night senior night for my daughter in the band. So
awesome.
no time
They
And
got
for
and
a,
this
Daniel
stuff.
is are we still
And
playing
he's all
golf?
over.
yeah, I mean, Zachary is playing golf.
Yes,
Right.
He's got a match on Thursday. I won't be here tomorrow. I am leaving and I'm heading up to Bruton Parker. I'm going to do
yes.
the girls' media day program.
Nice.
And I'm going to drive the 7 hours from there early Friday morning up to Lindsey Wilson. Friday, we're going to do the boys. Saturday, we're going to do the girls. And then I'm going to head back home. So it's going to be a hectic Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for me. Um,
Is it
but
just me, or do you kind of picture him on that 7 hour drive, like no music, no nothing, just kind of just staring off into the road?
yeah, that's
That's not what he does
I
though.
know it's not, but I mean, that's my pictures. Like I'm just picturing just like
uh, I turn on a movie, put on cruise control.
I know for a fact that on Sunday afternoon I will get a phone call and Daniel will be like, "Hey, let's talk about," and I'm okay. That's cool if I'm available. I'm more than
Yeah,
happy, and we
he'll
will
knock
we
out
will
about 40
chop
minutes,
up an hour. You know?
knock out an hour for me. Yeah, that'll
I
be
had a real quick side note. I had an editor that I worked with in Orlando Sentinel who lived in Ponte Vedra and drove home every night
Oh
and left the
wow.
office at like 2 or 3 in the morning to drive home. But he had like some people that were like night owls too. And like every night he just drove home and would call like these three or four people every night to like catch up. And that's how he passed the time. So
yeah.
I
Well,
No,
can
you know,
it depends how I feel in the morning. I may call. I may put on a really good show and watch TV while I drive. Is that okay?
I watch
I
games.
I don't know. You know, one of the things I will say though, in that at least I've been told this about the other podcasts I do, but probably this one as well, is there will be people who aren't looking at our faces but are just listening to us
Yes.
talk as they drive, and I think that's great. I mean, anytime we can be talking about the sport and all the things that are happening in it and everything else, and yeah, people are in their cars, they're busy, they're doing things,
Yep.
so it's good.
The government hasn't canceled us, so we're
Not
AO.
yet.
Not yet, but I'm sure
It's
I'm sure
coming.
we're on the watch list, man. I'm
I
sure
know
we're on
I
a
am.
watch
I'm
list.
I'm on a few, I'm sure.
On
All
the
right.
watch list.
So let's set the stage for what's going to happen today.
Yes.
And then I want to do a little housekeeping and that sort of thing. Just to give you guys an idea, today's show we're going to delve a little deeper into 1A, talk about some programs that are maybe don't get as much love as some of the other programs in 1A. We spent some time talking about Mater Lakes and Cardinal Gibbons and all the different programs that are right there at the top. And what I asked Brant and Dan to do was to come up with a team in each region outside that did not finish in the top 10 last year
In the state.
in the state,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, in the state. And we're going to talk a little bit about the possibility of them this year and how good they could be this year and that sort of thing. I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at last year's stuff and there have been transfers and that sort of thing. So I fully expect that Brant will correct us if we have somebody we mention a name and they've actually transferred or something else. But this is our opportunity because, as we've said before, we are big believers in promoting the entire state. We,
Yeah.
all the programs and everything. We don't want to just necessarily focus on the top programs. So
And if I
that
if
is
I
the choice.
may
Yeah.
jump in on this and do some self-promotion, also, this is kind of born out of my preview that comes out on November 10th, where I do a capsule for every single team in the state, and so
And
we've
we
been
and
just
we've seen a few of them.
yes, I've sent a few over to help some folks, a folk, um, but that's kind of how it grew, is just our own talks outside of the podcast, where um, that we wanted to get a chance to delve into the preview, but also maybe focus on teams that are doing something special that maybe once we get into the high speed of the season, we won't have a chance to discuss, but they're certainly worth discussing. And they'll have these capsules and everything in the preview. So it's kind of looking ahead to that.
And
Yeah,
to,
and one of
And I'll admit most of the ones that I pick are ones that I've got information from, so I know maybe what they have coming back. Some of them I've talked to the coaches, so you can say there's an information bias there, but uh,
well,
I'm going to reward the ones that have taken time to help me know their team better.
Well, and I love the fact that Dan travels all over the place and takes, these
Yes.
media days of everyone and I'm sure you're having conversations with people that that isn't necessarily public knowledge at this moment in time and you like certain programs because, you like interacting with the kids and everything else. And this is your opportunity to talk about those programs, Dan.
with that being said, only one of the programs that I have in the four that I picked are do media days with me. Um, but
But
But that's one.
but there's one. But yeah, I mean, I could have picked out some more. A lot of them are not out of the top 10,
Yeah.
but um,
There are a few times where I picked a team because so far we've broken down 1A and 2A between us. 2A will be next week. Um, I'll be like, oh, I got to talk about this team. And then I'll look back like, oh, they
but yeah,
finished ninth.
but definitely, yeah. I mean, coming up, I've got so I'm away this weekend, and then I've got kind of a week of a little break, maybe only one or two, and then starting October 24th, uh, there's pretty much a media day every single day up until literally Thanksgiving. The day before Thanksgiving,
Wow.
I'm out of school in the morning. So I'm literally, there'll be, I guess, what's that, 40 schools or something?
Wow.
I'll be in
well,
there.
there you go, guys. If he doesn't mention yours in the region, you make
Sign up for
sure
some
that you
media
give
day.
him some grief when he comes down to
And
your
listen,
media
he'll
day.
talk about if you let him do your media day, he will talk about you all year.
That's right.
Yes, I will.
You will.
Well, what's really good too is when I get to go in these rooms, I get to meet kids maybe I haven't
Yeah.
met before.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
coaches will tell me, hey, that's Johnny over there. He's one of our new kids, and man, he's really been working hard. He came up through our youth program. He gets to show himself this year as a freshman. Whatever. So that's cool to see, and then getting to go back year. This will be my fourth year, my fourth season doing media days, and it started out with just 10 schools, and this year we're over 50. And it's been cool to see the growth of
Yeah.
the girls and the boys in the rooms as I show up, and that's cool too.
And I'll say this, just I'm going to help promote him. But I haven't heard back from a coach of one of my daughter's teams. And what I told him is that you don't just do great media day photos. You connect with the kids and maybe it's something up here, but like you connect with the kids like you don't get from most photographers that show up. And I think it shows in your pictures. Like
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just
you know how to make it comfortable, you know how to be creative, and it's a really cool experience for the kids, and they
never
love
got.
you for it, and they love you all year for it.
I appreciate that. I've never gotten out of my high school mentality. So
That it fits, it
Yeah,
works.
well, that's a true statement there. All right.
yeah, you should see
Um,
our pre-shows.
all right. Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
no, you shouldn't.
Um, so let's do some housekeeping
But
really quick.
we're
Yes,
going to do housekeeping, you said.
yes,
We
Yeah, so let so
we
so
are going to we will touch briefly on some of the successful results at GFC,
yeah.
not just Florida results through the Southeast. You've had some, right? And then we will briefly touch on, please watch XYZ competing out of the Southeast at who's number one, right? So we'll
Yeah.
do our best to kind of breeze through all these cool little things that have happened and are coming up, right?
Yeah, so basically I mean, there I don't want to keep you guys on the phone or on the Zoom too long. So I'm going to do this fairly quickly. We can't go into as much detail as we'd like, especially if we're going to talk about each of these teams. But first, probably the biggest news that came down over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Brandt posted it, talked about Zephyrhills Hills Christian and the decision with the FHSAA. And as I understand it from reading what Brandt wrote and then what was been written by others, is that this is kind of a school-wide thing. It wasn't specifically the wrestling program or anything like that. I understand that Zephyrhills Hills Christian will be competing during the season at a lot of the big events during the season. So we'll still see them at the knockout. We'll still see them at other places, which is fantastic. We don't have an opinion about, I mean, the decisions that have been made. We're just reporting back what we've heard and that sort of thing. So obviously paying attention to Zephyrhills Hills Christian, but most importantly out of Zephyrhills Hills Christian for me is Coach Maple going through some tough challenges health wise and everything else. And I know that I speak for Dan and Brandt, and that we wish him the best of luck,
yes.
and the entire Zephyrhills Hills Christian family in getting, healthy and coming back and everything else. Do you guys want to add anything to that before we move?
Not just healthy and back, but I need him at knockout in the Santa hat, or else my holiday
There you go.
just my holiday isn't complete if Coach Maple. No, I mean, a great guy and a great coach, and
Yes.
you can tell by the kids' reactions to this and the way they've rallied together what he means to them and what the program has meant to them, and that's a testament to him, and can't wait to see him back at some of the events.
And I
Yeah.
agree. What a great human. He's always very approachable, very likable, and very funny. Big personality. So
He is, yeah. Well, Coach, we're thinking about you. Just know that we are thinking about you and would love some progress and see how you're doing, that sort of thing. All right, so let's move to the Grappler Fall Classic very quickly. Lots of Florida kids, a lot of Southeast kids jumped up to the state of Ohio, not Michigan this year.
The Ohio Grappler Fall Classic.
And I'm going to just give you one. We could go into a lot of different kind of, I mean, I can't name all the names from the kids from the Southeast who were there. But if you simply look at 120 pounds, you see not only how good it was, but how good the Southeast was. Cody Clark won the event. Um, Over Chaz Robinson and Cooper Merley, who are not from the Southeast. Nathan Lytle was fourth. Liam Davis was fifth. Liam Davis beat Lazaro Soto in the finals, for
In the
fifth
fifth
and
place match,
sixth. You know,
good to see
and I
Lytle back. Good to see Lytle back, by the way. I know his confidence was knocked off a little bit coming through Fargo. He was little disappointed on his results there. He went back to work, went back and committed to just practicing and coming back and doing that. It was good to see.
Well, and I'm gonna just tell you, like everybody already knows the name Cody Clark, okay? But Cody is a freshman, and in the state of Georgia, he hasn't had a
He
chance to
hasn't had a
make a run
chance.
for a state title yet, because of the rules in Georgia. But the fact that he could win that bracket at 120 pounds, that is why he was the outstanding wrestler of the tournament. For Grappler Fall Classic. So that was my one thing. Dan, what do you have? Who are you gonna give a shout out to?
Well, I think, I mean, obviously, as a whole, Lake Highland Prep obviously showed up like they always do, and they put people in the finals, they put people on the top of the podium, and they brought a lot of hardware home. But a couple of kids, obviously, I don't know, I can go into everybody, but we had, Ray took third from, got to compete against a kid named White out of Indiana, who's number three in the country. Um, and he ended up lost that match in the semis, came back and took third. And then obviously the young Barnhart taking fourth, was huge. There's many others. I'm sure Brant will get into them, because I could go down the whole.
Or, well, and honestly, you're not gonna get into everybody. So
Yeah.
just give me a couple names that you noticed, Brant.
Well, I mean, just to point out, what was it? Lake Highland Prep, five straight finals. They had somebody in the finals. Mason Basile obviously stands out. Back from injury from last year, wins the grappler. And then on the girl side, for the elite, they did wrestle freestyle. Melissa Gallo, Kendall Haney, both won titles. You also had Shamari Smith, Ariana Garcia, South Dade finished second. I think Savannah Porter was in the top three. So I want to make sure we give the girls some love competing in the elite
And
there.
and
Absolutely.
the little you had mentioned earlier on the pre-show, and we were talking about this. Little Lucas Lane made a run too.
Yes, and he
Yeah.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Lake Highland Prep looked solid, up and down. So did Athens Christian, who,
Yes.
they've got some studs in their group. But I agree with you in that you look across the way, of the girls and that sort of thing. And if you know the names of the girls that were on this list, you know that this level of competition has gotten much, much better at the Grappler Fall Classic as far as the girls go. The girls who won are really, really talented. So anyone who made the podium from the Southeast for the girls' side should be very proud of the run that they made. All right,
And then
so
just a interesting thing on the varsity side that I wanted to point out: Nikita Chevkovsky and Vladislav Chevkovsky of Tuckloy Creek both reached the finals, and they didn't wrestle.
Before we move on, side note, the same weekend was Columbus State Duels, and Miami Hawks took a girls team up there, did really well, took third place in that. One of the notable wins I saw was I believe Abby took out a Fargo champ or a Fargo finalist, in one of her matches, so good win there. But yeah, uh,
very cool.
shout out to
Um,
Hawks and that.
one of as we go through it, we've talked about Elite A, we've talked about the Florida Super 32 qualifier, the Georgia Super 32 qualifier. This weekend is no different. Coming up, we have who's number one, and you know what? I love the fact that the Southeast is exceptionally well represented at this
Yep.
event. Um, Florida has a few kids. Tennessee has a few kids. Georgia, with the Mills boys, Araya and Antonio are there. Um, but I I think Mr. Mako gets an opportunity for a rematch. Isn't that the kid he lost to in Fargo?
Yes, he was doing really well in that match, and then the last few minutes got away from him, and that's where he lost it at. I remember standing there watching it, but yeah, I can't wait to see it again. I think we're going to see some big adjustments on Mako's side. Um, he definitely has the ability and the skill to win that match, and I just I'm excited to see that. And then
And one of the ones they pushed to the end. It's one of the
Oh, it's like the second
highlighted
to
matches
last,
that
isn't
people
it?
are excited to
yeah,
see him and Kobe Merrill go at it again.
see, Lake Highland has DeCracker. I hope I said
The
that.
Craker, yeah.
He'll be competing up there at who's number one, and then you mentioned the Mills boys. And I think, was there a Tennessee kid? Did you say
There
something?
are two Tennessee girls, little Riley Sturgill and Janiyah Johnson. And Janiyah, I believe, wrestled in it last year and won. And this is Riley's first time up there. And Yeah, both of them are hammers, and it'll be fun to watch. I tell you what, guys, tune into Flow this weekend because
Yep.
there's going to be some great matches, and there are going to be some kids that from the southeast that you might know, you might have heard of, that sort of thing, and go ahead and cheer for them. That'd be great.
Yeah, or you can see them all at the knockout at Christmas.
We won't see all of
We
them,
won't
but
see all. We'll see a
we'll see
good.
some of them.
See some of them.
Um, all right, so let's now jump into today's
Topic.
topic. Yeah, sorry, today's topic. And I told everybody at the top of this, I asked you to choose someone who was outside the top 10 in the classification in that region. It had to, we went by regions. That way we didn't focus entirely on a specific region. And it's pretty easy, I think, to kind of hone in on, a team that's really close to the top 10 and that sort of thing. We're not saying that this team is necessarily going to be in the top 10 at the end of the year. That was not the purpose of this conversation. The purpose of this conversation was to say, hey, we've noticed that this
Yeah.
program is making some progress. They're doing some things that are really, really good. These are some kids you might want to keep an eye on. That's the purpose of this conversation. It is not to say we believe so and so is going to be, number 7 or whatever the case is. That's not the purpose of this conversation. So,
That's Brant's job to pick those, so be mad at him. But
say what?
that's Brant's job to be matter of fact and say,
Yes.
no.
Like we said, we'll talk about those teams, I'm sure, ad nauseum.
So actually, we're going to start in Region One, and I'm going to start with Brant. And Brant did pick a team that was very, I wouldn't say unusual or whatever, but Trinity Christian is a pretty new program, and not one that's necessarily up on the radar, right?
I would say so. There are a few things that drew me to this. Trinity Christian, of course, just a second year program. Matthew Page started it there last year, and um, the thing that's unique about Trinity Christian, if anybody follows other high school sports in Florida, they are a sports powerhouse in a lot
Yeah,
of
they
things.
are.
They've been great at football. They've got, I think it's baseball. They're real strong at. There is administration that is behind this. There is money being put into it. This is a program they want to succeed. It's not like they said, "Oh, let's just put a wrestling team together." So when you have the admin on your side, when you have a coach who's invested, you start to see those kind of things happening. And I'm not saying like you said, Trinity Christian is still building, but I feel that this is a team to watch because of those kind of things. Now they're also in a district that's like 13 teams large. So FHSA, if you're watching, you know, but
So they tune in every week.
I know they do, and I love everything you guys do, but District 1A4 being as big as it is right now, it's almost like a region tournament to get some guys out of there. They had 3 region qualifiers last year. They've got 2 back this year. Uh, they've got a team captain, Alexander McKay, who's just been working year round and really has taken a leadership role to build other guys up. So I really like what they're doing there, and we may see them down the stretch, in a couple of years' time as a 1A team. To watch. And I cheated, so I'm going to take my second team just real quick, also in 1A4, because I couldn't choose between the two. But this is a completely different kind of team. Trinity Christian's building like this big program. St. John's Country Day, you're going to see a lot of, because we already have Bryce Fiore. He's a 7th grader. He's already ranked number 1 in my rankings. You have Colt Hill, who's a freshman and it's really kind of wrestled into his body, and he's doing really well in the offseason. They've got some other guys coming in. Roman Ortez has come over from Fleming Island. You're going to see St. John's Country Day in IBTs have guys in the finals and have guys on the board, and they may not be a deep team, but they're going to be a good IBT team out of a small 1A Region 4.
So
Not
Brant
small.
is Dan 2.0 now, jumping with 2 teams, but that's okay.
It's the only one I did it on.
Okay, all right. Jumping jumping over to Daniel. Dan, you picked a team that, I mean, really is has got a lot of potential to actually crack into the top 10. And South Walton is has shown the ability to kind of do some big things in the past.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with 10 starters coming back, eight regional qualifiers, um, they have four kids right now in the room. Obviously, football's going on, so a lot of the kids play that. But man, their depth, I was reading the preview on Cabra Wrestling. Please check
Yes.
that out. And he does great interviews with these coaches, and you're able to get a lot of information on them. But yeah, with they look very deep. They've got a lot of kids coming back that were tough last year, and I just think that they're ready to make the next step.
Yeah, no doubt.
And have
And
a
one of the
big
things
program in that area too is kind of crazy to have that many kids.
one of the things I like about South Walton, and this was actually a big deal for me, and when I was doing my picks, was that they didn't graduate according to who was a senior last year. Now we don't know who's actually going to return because,
We do for them
well,
because
you do,
I
I
do know.
don't. Um, and you can see that when you actually see the preview.
Cabra Wrestling.
But the truth is that they have a lot of kids that, I mean, who having regional experience, having experience of being to these tournaments, kids losing in the blood round, kids losing in different places, you know, that that
Six
just motivates a team.
six freshmen. They've got six freshmen that are tough, and they're going to have these freshmen for a long time. And they
You
could.
mean sophomores? They were freshmen last year.
Oh, yeah, freshman,
Well,
sophomore.
and that's so again, that's one of the things for me is if you can keep groups of kids together over a period of time, that's a huge deal. And that's actually one of the reasons why I picked Florida High. And Florida High for me is a program that they lost Keaton Ellis last year. I think he was a state placer
Placed fourth.
for them. But they returned Jasper Kroom, who has been unstoppable, looked absolutely great so far this year.
And he won the high school title at Grappler.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, like, I mean, you've got a number of different individuals. And last year they had a freshman at 6, an eighth grader at 13, an eighth grader at 20. They had freshmen and eighth graders dotted throughout their lineup. And if you get some senior leadership from like a Kroom and Jordan Hagler and different individuals like that, and you get this young group coming together, that makes me feel like that's a team that has a lot of potential. And I watched them at the Deep South Duels, and they went out and competed as kind of their team, and I just thought that was pretty cool.
It'll be curious because Suwannee is the power in 1A. Two. They've won the last three district titles. Florida High has been chasing a district title, and IBT finishing second or third every year since 2012. Um, Graduated a lot, so you have to think that Suwannee is still going to be deep. Joey Phillips has taken over the program, but Florida High having so many bodies back that have been in the program could make that an interesting IBT run.
Well, and let's be honest, Wakulla is I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
that's a
too.
team that you could totally have picked in this situation
Yeah,
as well.
that's true. They're the same level of having guys back, so it's gonna be a fun district, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a fun region, definitely. All right, so we now move to Region 2. And Region 2, we've mentioned Zephyr Hills Christian. They finished second a year ago. You had Merritt Island, who was a top 10 team. You had Cocoa Beach, who was a top 10 team. You had
But
Hernando,
Zephyr
which
Hills
is
Christian will not be 1A this year.
yeah, they won't be 1A this year, but we're not going to talk about them because, well, they're not going to be 1A this year, but also they finished in the top 10. So all these top
Yeah.
10 teams, we could spend some time talking about Cocoa Beach. We could spend some time talking about Hernando, but we're not. We chose teams that were outside the top 10. And Brant, you went with the Villages.
I'm telling you, I'm drawn to these programs that have administrators that like the program, that are pumping resources to it. They have that huge gym there, and just they're just Joe Cummings has come in and he's building a program. They did have a state champ last year, when Jonathan Kohecki moved there from New York, I think it was. But
Mhm.
beyond that, they've got some guys coming back. I actually had trouble finding like a good. There's so many teams that were around the same area here, but what stuck out for me for the Villages is just again, it's the size of the team. It's the group buying into the culture that's being built there. Uh, Unfortunately for them, they were expecting David Mooney to be back. He was a blood round wrestler last year, and his brother, his family moved to Tennessee, so they've had some loss with graduation and with that, but they've got Devin Dunn back, Ethan Caldwell, Wyatt Overstreet, all guys that are region qualifiers, um, blood round guys, two of them, and ready to kind of take that next step in a winnable district. Uh, they were third last year. They won it 2 years ago, and I think this year they got to be considered one of the teams to win the 1A6.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I definitely interesting picking the Villages only because um for me it wasn't a program back when I coached. So,
Yeah,
it's
it was a
to me.
swamp back when you coached.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Um, but it's just interesting to see some of these different teams, and I love the fact that you went with Trinity Christian, you went with St. John's Country Day in the Villages. These are programs that continue to build over time, and that's pretty cool. Daniel, you look like you're perplexed or leaning in.
Trying to
Or
read.
gaseous.
You took Space Coast as your team out of Region Two. Why'd you take Space Coast?
I mean, listen, first of all, sorry everybody, but Region 2 has probably turned into arguably the new region of doom. I mean, they are just absolutely loaded there in that region. Um, but Space Coast comes in, they've got, it looks like they could have eight returning qualifiers. Two of them were state qualifiers in Austin Swanson and Ashton Swanson and Angel Jones. They always tend to be right there. Uh, they always have some tough kids, and with that kind of depth, I think I can see them kind of getting back into the mix a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where Space Coast is another program that has a lot of returners, Swanson and Jones, like you said. But you had several kids who got one win, got two wins at regionals, and if a coach can figure out how to take those kids and move them onto this into the state tournament in a very tough region, there is
I mean,
no
that
given in that
tough
situation.
district. I mean, to get out of that district is a reward in itself with Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach, and Palm Bay, uh, all wrestling there. And you also have like Astronaut and Titusville who are rebuilding programs. Really a tough district just to get to the regions can be an accomplishment there.
Well, and I think that was pretty. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I say you don't have to tell me. I was there last year. I've been there. I've been there with my son all these years, but just recently, um, it turned to this, and definitely. I mean, listen, it's fun to watch some of the matchups that are there. It's going to be exciting.
Well, and what I was going to echo is that I think it's pretty evident, especially when a kid takes fourth out of their district and yet wins their opening match,
Yeah.
against a district champ from another district, or, is able to get two wins in knocking off kids that maybe finished higher in another district. That's a pretty telling sign of the quality of depth of that district. So, and that said, my pick is Palm Bay. And I wanted to go a little bit away from Palm Bay, simply because Palm Bay has been a top 10 team. And I wanted to shine some light on some other teams, but I think this is going to be a really interesting year for Palm Bay because they do lose Brunson, they do lose Leonard Christian. Obviously, they're two big hammers off of that lineup from a year ago. But this is a senior heavy squad. They have a lot of seniors on the squad, according to what I'm seeing. Um, and I think that they have a real shot to, because they come from such a tough district and a tough in the region. You know, Robert Hunt? Oh, he was a senior last year. Dominic Maldonado was also a senior last year. You had Kevion Williams. He's back. He was a state placer or a state
State
qualifier.
qualifier.
State qualifier.
I've been told to watch him by multiple coaches. They're like, "Hey,"
And
and
you
he's
had
been putting into work this offseason. We've seen Kevion Williams all over the state wrestling almost every weekend and really fine tuning his craft. So he's definitely the main guy to watch there. I'd say at Palm Bay.
Well, and you got other kids, Bobby Shivers up top. These kids have won matches at regionals, and they're not going to be different. They're not going to be much different than what we talked about with Space Coast or some of the others. Can you get a kid who won, one or two matches at regionals and move them
Yep.
beyond that and into the state tournament? So, all right, let's move down to Region 3. And the new name in Region 3 was St. John Newman. And they are unbelievably talented. And I think we all fully expect them to be way back in the top 10. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of
I'd
time
say
talking about St. John Newman.
top three, top four.
Top three. Yeah, maybe even higher than that.
Might be their floor might be top three, and they're going to be very, very tough this year.
But beyond St. John Newman, the door is open. There's an opportunity for a number of different programs to kind of step in and take that. I mean, it's been First Baptist Naples, but that program we've seen a number of transfers to other programs from.
I would
First
say
Baptist
I don't
Naples.
even know if they have a team this year. I don't know. I've been trying to confirm that.
But there are other teams that have done really, or have been on the radar or are now on the radar, and one of which, Daniel, is the return of Jeff Reagan and Lemon Bay, his alma mater down there. And I agree with you. Lemon Bay would have been one of my choices as well to pick as a team to watch out of there. Why'd you pick Lemon Bay?
First of all, obviously with Reagan, I think this his third season.
Yeah, third year
Yeah.
at the school,
Third
back at the
season,
school.
so he's starting to put his fingerprint on the program. Obviously, Hall of Famer Schick is still around the
He is
program.
not around the program. Actually, he is at. I should have told you. He is actually at Lakewood Ranch, assistant coach there now.
Oh,
Okay.
I should have put that. He's not listed on assistant coaches, but I should have.
But obviously, Hall of Famer Lance Schick built a wonderful program there, and then it transitioned to another Hall of Famer, Jeff Reagan, and he's starting to put his fingerprint on there. He's got two state qualifiers returning in Logan Dean and Matthew Lopez, who are very tough, and and then he's got five new additions with the Perez brothers, and he's got some kids coming in from out of state, from Indiana and Ohio, and also. It looks like he's got nine regional qualifiers returning, so the depth is there. You can see what he's building, and he's starting to attract attention. And I think it'll be sooner than later that we hear about Lemon Bay jumping back up into the mix.
I couldn't agree
I think
with you
this
more.
year you'll start to see his influence in the coaching. I think you'll see these kids make jumps this year.
I agree, and it really is. I mean, I don't know. Everybody maybe is a little impatient. You see this great coach come in, and you expect this kind of turnaround in a particular year. Like you're still, it takes a while to mold, the next group into kind of what they're going to be. And you're absolutely right that that's going to start happening.
I mean, when he took over the Citadel, by the time he left there, great program, but he had them tough, right? He took over the school in Georgia.
Woodward Academy.
They were okay. By the time he left, they were somebody to talk about.
Champs, yeah, and
so I think that we'll start to see his fingerprint on there as well. So that's
all right, Brant. We're gonna move to another program that, again, I love this because Cardinal Mooney was not a program back when I coached. I think
they weren't a program 2 years ago.
Yeah. So So what is it about Cardinal Mooney? Educate us about this program.
Again, you're looking at a program second year, a first year coach, Felix Osuna Cato is coming in and taking over the reins there after the first season. Just a program again at a school that is known for having success in sports, has is known for having administration that uh, wants their sports to be successful, and they've seemed to have put an effort into this program. If you just look at who's coming back, they've got 7 kids that made the regions last year. Blake Rowland was a district champ. He's coming back as a senior. Trevor Dudding Morrill was a district finalist, is coming back. So, you know, you have some senior leadership. You have Luke Laddle coming over from Sarasota, who was a blood round wrestler last year in 3A. So you just have like a base again of a school that is starting from scratch and just finding kids in the hall and bringing in some guys from other schools that are looking for a chance. And again, they're much like Trinity Christian. I don't know that we'll talk a lot about them this year, but I think this is a program we're going to have to keep our eye on because they're going to continue building and getting that base and getting kids excited about the sport and seeing it grow from within.
That is so cool. I one of the things that I wanted to do, I don't know if you guys have seen, I've tracked the state qualifiers over the last 10 years and the different teams. And right now I'm getting ready to put out what's called a conversion rate, which is the number of qualifiers that actually turn into placers and that sort of thing. But I want to do a tracking of the number of new programs in the last 10 years. How many programs have come in and how many have left? Because to be
There's a
fair,
lot that do
there
that
are
too.
ones that have left as well. But you absolutely love to see the growth of the sport and these new programs kind of popping up all over the place.
Well, I mean, we talked about IMG on our last episode,
Yeah.
and it's a different level, obviously, but it's a school that is known for its sports, you know, as athletic program. And like when I found out Trinity Christian and Cardinal Mooney were both starting wrestling programs last year, I instantly thought of other sports, and so they have a basic. I mean, St. John Newman, kind of the same thing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they have benefited by having a coach Blake Eisen who's been around and had some guys follow him from Palmetto Ridge and has some at a kids program and everything. So like that was like a ready built team, but that's the same kind of situation where you have a school that has a storied athletic program. They have an administration that supports the sports department, and you see them want wrestling to be successful, and you're starting to see more and more of that, and that's good to see.
Well, and I'll tell you, any administration that is super supportive of the sport, I will be very happy to kind of cheer
Yes.
for their success. So that's good. All right. So and then my team in Region 3 is Aubrey Rogers. Obviously, um, Aubrey Rogers is probably, are they in year 4, 5? Is that about right?
It's the third season.
Third season.
Third season that they've competed in the FHSA. I can't remember if they had a. I don't
See,
even. I think they just started and jumped right in. But it's a third year school. So it's a brand new school. You know, so much growth in the area. So yeah, they're a young program too and a young school.
well, and some hammers. I mean, let's be honest with you. You can't look past the Zerkas, right? Obviously, the trio of Luca, Beckham, and
Actually,
Damien.
I believe they're quadruplets. I think there's
Oh,
four,
there's
but
four.
one of them, I don't think made the postseason last year.
Okay. Well, certainly
I
they probably had to fight with one of the
was gonna say,
brothers, right,
well,
for a spot.
one of them came out a few minutes later than the other three. So.
Well, and then let's be honest. I mean, from 6 to 26, because your six is your Eduardo Ray.
Yeah.
From 6 to 26, Aubrey Rogers is absolutely exceptionally tough. To even find a place in the lineup, you go up to 32. You've got Arthur Pimenta, who was a blood rounder last year. That he'll be a senior this year, and I'll be honest with you. If Aubrey Rogers can figure out the top of their lineup, the bottom of their lineup is going to do what's necessary,
Yeah.
right? They're going to be there. Um, but the top of the lineup, I think they're still trying to figure that out, at least based upon past statistics. Have you had a conversation with the coach at
I
Aubrey
have not
Rogers?
had a chance to yet. I've reached out.
Okay.
Yeah, they're strong at the bottom. They do have Jacob Bacon moving back to Florida after being at Wyoming Seminary coming in, and he'll be 75 or 90 for them. But yeah, this is a team that's still kind of growing. But I mean, this is a team. Remember that their first year, 2024, they won a district title over First Baptist of Naples and everyone else. Slipped the fourth last year, but this school has already won a district title because they came in with so many wrestlers who already had some experience.
Yeah. All right. We now shift to 1A, Region 4, our last region that we're going to talk about. And I mean, let's be honest. We've seen changes over the years with 1A Region 4, Jensen Beach, Somerset moving up, obviously to 2A. Your defending state champions, Matter Lakes, obviously, they're there. Cardinal Gibbons is in there. Um, there's not a whole lot of room for different programs to kind of make an impact. And I'm going to go to Dan first. Dan, why in the world why is Coral Shores going to be one of the ones that finds that little thing, and be able to get through kids through?
I think obviously Dante has been there now quite a few years now, back from his college days and whatever he was doing after that. But
You notice how Dan hesitated. Both Dan and I are hesitating because we're going to say like 3 years, and Brent's going to be like, actually, no, it's 4.5.
4.5, right? So
He should have that on the thing I sent him. It's his fourth season.
yeah, fourth season there. But he's started with he's had a youth club that he's been building, and all those youth kids are starting to get to the age where now he can maybe start competing in the higher level tournaments with Gavin Matthias, who I think is in the top three or top five of Cabra rankings, coming back healthy. This kid is somebody that can score a lot of points for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him at the top of the podium at the end of the year. He's getting big, getting healthy. They've got Beltran and McCoy returning. Both of them state qualifiers. I believe two state qualifiers last year is a record for that school. It hasn't been something. And then some people to watch out for that I wrote down are Sterling Keefe, Jeremiah Ortiz, and Lucas Casio. But you have guys like Tuttle, uh, who is tough, and you've got a lot of kids that have come up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them take the next step in their building process and start to get closer to achieving some of their goals. Obviously, with Key West down there, Chaz has built a very consistent program, and he's always tough. And I know, the first goal for Coral Shores is try to chase them down, right? And that's what they're trying to do. Side note, um, young team is True North. I think keep an eye on True North as well. True North is a young team down there. They have a lot of middle schoolers that are turning the corner there. They had a couple at the state tournament, but True North is another one. I'll do a Cabra thing from the top.
Yeah, I love that. Like I was waiting for Dan to come up with like multiple ones from a
True North, a little school, a little program, but with big, big, big possibilities.
I love that. All right, Brant, let's shift to Miami Carroll City.
Well, let me just say this about 1A4. I call it the dark zone because I have only heard from two coaches in 1A4, Benjamin School, my brother's alma mater in Palm Beach, and Coral Springs Charter. And in fact, I'll be talking to Eric Perez today. We have an interview. I didn't pick either of those two, but those are the only two schools that I've heard from in 1A4. So I don't know a lot. I'm looking at my list here. There are a few programs listed that are supposed to be new this year. Don't know who's coaching them. There are 5 schools where they competed last year. I don't know who's coaching them. But Carroll City, which have not heard anything on, have not spoken to anybody there. I get asked once every couple of weeks, "Hey, what's going on at Carroll City?" I don't know. So if you know what's going on at Carroll City, email me. But they've had some movement. They last year was the first year they had competed in the FHSAA since 2019. They did place fifth in a very tough district now with Cardinal Gibbons and Matter Lakes. They just on in their room they returned six guys who made it to regions last year who placed third or fourth in districts. But they get Brandon Simmons coming over from Miami Norland, Dylan Pressman also coming over from Miami Norland, both region qualifiers last year. Matthias Honigan comes over from North Miami, and Jaden Ruiz, heavyweight, has moved over from Miami Killian. And again, all guys with region experience last year also. A lot more matches than the Carroll City guys had last year wrestling for them. I don't know why they're moving there, but it's intriguing, and it shows a program that is on the rise and attracting wrestlers that want to be there. And I'm curious as to what they'll be able to accomplish this year, and would love to hear from someone there to give me more information on them.
Call him.
I man, I send out stuff every week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And
make
for
it
them
as
to
easy
call
as
you,
I
for them
can.
to call you. Look, we were talking about 1A2. Anybody out there looking for a position to coach? The First Academy Orlando is still on the hunt. Um, Looking for somebody to come in and take over that program as their coach has taken a higher position at another school. So still looking. The new AD there has reached out, and he's really doesn't want to see the program go away, but
There's
obviously,
a lot of open jobs still out there.
that could happen.
Hopefully that we can fill them.
He's in
That's not good.
right.
Same story every year. They usually find someone, so hopefully everybody does, and that they're good fits and they stick around and they're not on my list again next year.
But it is a private school, everybody. So just to let you know.
So I'm going to finish up this conversation
Oh, that's right.
with
You're still
my
here.
pick, and I really struggled picking between two different teams, and
No one cares who you. No, just kidding.
well,
Well,
they
it's been
do.
great. Thanks. See you guys later.
All right, bye. So,
So I came down to Slam Academy and Pinecrest, two programs that really they're individuals kind of like take them where they end up. Slam Academy obviously has some really talented kids. And Pinecrest, Nathan Chen was an exceptionally good heavyweight a year ago. He is gone. He has graduated. You do have Andrew Chen, though, who was a state placer. Is that correct? Do you know off the top of your head, Brand?
He was state qualifier last year.
State qualifier, not
26 and 16.
Okay. But the reason I went with Pinecrest was because they're a team that, again, at least according to if everybody returns and everything else, they have a number of kids who qualified for the region tournament. They're back. There's a number of different seniors on the squad, and we have an opportunity to, potentially push their way through and into the state tournament. I mean, a good example is at 165, Jacob Lobus lost in the blood round 12-10, and again, if you can get a few individuals who have that level of experience, and this is just a repeated, thing I keep saying, but I really believe that having that experience is super important, and that can be the difference between moving on and a team kind of rising or a team kind of staying where they are or even obviously regressing. So, all right, guys. So that was our pick for 1A, a few schools across the state. I hope you enjoyed it. It
And
was,
if we didn't touch upon a 1A school that you felt we should have,
yeah,
email us or email
yeah,
me, and
or
I'll
make
put
a
a list
comment.
together or comments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yes.
I think that it's
If you're angry about it, email him too.
If you're angry, email ward@wardwrestling.com.
Uh,
So as we wrap this up really quick, was it I mean, I want to say, was it difficult to come down pick one, or was it? I mean, some regions it felt like I could pick like six different teams. Other regions, I was like, well, I think I'm going to pick this one. I'm not 100%
well,
sure.
there's definitely more options in the bottom than there are in the top 10. So you have a lot to choose from.
But you want
Yeah,
to, but you want to pick the right one.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, I love topics like this, but it's also, I mean, you want to get it right. You want to showcase teams that are doing things right. So you hope that you're picking those. I have an advantage over you guys just in that I've learned about a lot of these teams already.
yeah,
But then they're like 1A4 where I haven't, and but I've heard from 36 teams out of the 147 listed for 1A. So there's a lot of stuff I don't know out there. Um, but it's fun. I love one of, and I make notes and I try to remember, but I hear so many great stories about kids that won't be wrestling for a state title, but a district final would mean the world to them. And I hear these stories and I try to remember them all so I can root for them in my head.
yeah,
So it's great to get a chance to talk about schools that we sometimes, because of time limits and everything going on, we don't get a chance to really celebrate during the season because it's 30 tournaments and this teams are battling, all the high rank stuff like college football. You could even say so much is spent on the other ones. You miss some of,
Yeah.
the
And
middle ones. And so it's good to get a chance to talk about them. And I really enjoyed this. This is one of my favorite ones to prepare
yeah,
for.
and it's great because we see, I mean, there's times during the season I'm at a duel or I'm at a tournament and I'll, Brent, there's this team, blah, blah, blah. And there's this one kid there and he's like, well, thank you, because I haven't heard from them or seen them. And
Yeah.
it's this little school somewhere in the middle of Florida. And they,
Well, last year it was Avon Park that you sent me stuff
and
on.
a lot of these schools have one kid that you're like,
Yeah.
wow, I want to watch that kid. He looks like he's talented. So when you're going down like these rosters and you're looking at different things, there are schools that might have that one standout person, but that's not enough to really push them, right? I mean,
yeah,
But
it's,
I think what we do when we do this, and you're mentioning that by finding someone, and Jason by making us go outside our comfort zone, is we're showing that all of these programs matter. They all
right.
matter what they're doing, whether you're competing for a region title or you want to be top four in your district, or you just want to have 8 guys finish the year. Everybody's working in all these programs and they all have something special going on with them. And I hope coaches realize that I want to hear from you. If you only got 4 guys that go out, but 3 of them have been working hard, I want to hear about those guys because everybody that does this sport takes on something that is hard and most people can't do. And it should be celebrated no matter what goals you have or how big you are or all of those things. And I think doing this, we get to kind of celebrate that part of it. And I really like that.
I mean, we've seen teams in the past that have had only 3 or 4 kids on there, but they all placed at state or they all qualified for state. I mean, it's a tough little squad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and they fall across the spectrum. Yeah.
Yep.
Things don't typically happen overnight. Building happens over a long period of time, and it's nice to kind of see the work that's put in, and the individuals that kind of rise over a long period of time. Um, so actually, that said, we're gonna wrap this up,
Yes.
but 1A is done. And like we said, drop a comment and an email, whatever, who we missed, who we should have highlighted. But you get the opportunity now, if you watch this and you have an opinion about 2A or 3A or the girls, that you should send us a comment or a note and say, hey, you know what? In 2A Region 2, you should be highlighting blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, look
Let
out for
us
this
know who that
team.
is.
Look out for that team. Look out for this team. Yeah,
Absolutely. And just remember, we won't be highlighting any teams that finished in the top 10 a year ago. So that won't be out. That'll be out. But otherwise, give us some suggestions.
Yeah.
We're actually still trying to work through who we're going to
I
pick.
got my teams, but you
Oh,
guys.
Grant could be his might could change. His might
oh,
could.
yeah, yeah. Because next week he'll get a call or he'll be on an interview and they'll be like, so and so has decided not to be here anymore, and so left.
I've got a few of those to tell you after the show. I just got today.
and then
I got some good ones. You're gonna be shocked.
Oh, wow. All
Okay.
right. Well, on that note, we're
With
going to let
that
you
being
guys go so
said,
we can get this information.
yeah. With that being said, peace.
See ya.
Guys on eggshells.